Hi there. I've been struggling to understand the past perfect tense. Can you help me out?
Sure, I'd be happy to. What exactly do you find confusing about it?
I'm not really sure what it is or when to use it. Can you explain it to me?
Sure thing. The past perfect tense is used to describe an action that was completed before another past action. For example, I had eaten breakfast before I went to work. In this sentence, the past perfect tense is used to show that the action of eating breakfast happened before the action of going to work.
Oh, I think I understand now. How is it different from other past tenses?
Good question. The past perfect tense is often used in conjunction with other past tenses. For example, you might use the simple past tense to describe the first action and the past perfect tense to describe the second action. So, in the sentence, I ate breakfast before I went to work, the simple past tense is used to describe the first action, and the past perfect tense is used to describe the second action.
That makes sense. Can you give me some more examples of sentences in the past perfect tense?
Sure, here are a few examples. He had finished his homework before he went to bed. We had already seen that movie before. And she had been to Paris twice before she moved there.
Thanks for explaining that to me. I think I understand it a lot better now.
You're welcome. Do you want to try practicing using the past perfect tense in some sentences?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. Let me think. I had studied English for 2 years before I moved to the United States. How does that sound?
Great job! That's a perfect example of the past perfect tense.
Thanks, I think I'm starting to get the hang of it.
It takes some practice, but you'll get there. Do you have any more questions about the past perfect tense?
Not right now, but I might have some more questions later on. Thanks again for your help.
No problem, happy to help anytime.
Hi there. I was wondering if you could help me understand how to form the past perfect tense.
Sure, I can definitely help you with that. The past perfect tense is formed using the auxiliary verb, had, and the past participle of the main verb. For example, I had eaten breakfast before I went to work.
Ah, okay. So, how do you use the past participle of the main verb?
That's a great question. The past participle of a regular verb is formed by adding ed to the base form of the verb. So, for example, the past participle of the verb walk is walked. The past participle of an irregular verb, however, is formed differently and must be memorized. For example, the past participle of the verb eat is eaten.
I see. So, can you give me an example of how to use an irregular verb in the past perfect tense?
Sure. An example sentence using an irregular verb in the past perfect tense is, she had already written her essay before she went to bed. In this sentence, the past participle of the irregular verb, write, is written.
Got it. So, what happens when the main verb is already in the past participle form?
Good question. When the main verb is already in the past participle form, you simply use had as the auxiliary verb. For example, she had already slept for 8 hours before she woke up.
Okay, I think I understand. Can you give me some more examples of sentences in the past perfect tense?
Sure, here are a few more examples. He had finished his homework before he went to bed. We had already seen that movie before. And she had been to Paris twice before she moved there.
Thanks for the examples. So, do you always have to use had as the auxiliary verb in the past perfect tense?
Yes, had is always used as the auxiliary verb in the past perfect tense. It's what makes it different from other past tenses.
I see. That makes sense. Thanks for explaining all of this to me.
You're welcome. Do you want to try practicing forming sentences in the past perfect tense?
Sure, I'll give it a try. I had studied English for 2 years before I moved to the United States. Is that right?
Yes, that's a perfect example of the past perfect tense.
Great, thanks for your help.
No problem, happy to help. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask.
Hi there. I'm trying to learn how to use the past perfect tense correctly. Can you help me?
Of course. What specifically are you having trouble with?
Well, I'm not sure when to use it. Can you explain to me what situations it's used in?
Sure. The past perfect tense is used to describe actions that happened before another action in the past, actions that happened before a specific time in the past, and to express regret or disappointment about a past action.
Okay, that helps. Can you give me an example of describing actions that happened before another action in the past?
Sure. An example sentence would be, she had already eaten breakfast before she left for work. In this sentence, the past perfect tense is used to describe the action of eating breakfast, which happened before the action of leaving for work.
I see. So, can you give me an example of describing actions that happened before a specific time in the past?
Sure. An example sentence would be, by the time we arrived at the party, she had already left. In this sentence, the past perfect tense is used to describe the action of leaving, which happened before a specific time.
Okay, I think I understand that usage. How about expressing regret or disappointment about a past action?
An example sentence for this usage would be, I had not studied for the test, and I failed it. In this sentence, the past perfect tense is used to express regret or disappointment about not studying for the test, which happened before the action of failing it.
That makes sense. Can you give me some common phrases or expressions used with the past perfect tense?
Sure. Some common phrases or expressions used with the past perfect tense are had already, had not, had been, and had gone.
Okay, can you give me an example sentence using one of those phrases?
Sure, an example sentence using had already would be, he had already finished his work before he went home.
Thanks for the examples. Can you think of any other situations where the past perfect tense might be used?
Another situation where the past perfect tense might be used is when telling a story. For example, I had always wanted to visit Paris, and finally, last year, I got the chance to go.
Oh, I see. So, it's used to give context to a story or event.
Exactly. It's a great way to provide more information about past events and actions.
Well, thank you so much for helping me understand the usage of the past perfect tense.
No problem, happy to help. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask.